Niculescu, who's a former semi-finalist at this event, was a semi-finalist as a qualifier 6 years ago, got a win over Li Na, and that's why she has such good memories of the event. She was asked about that. And Shuai with a much tougher passage through to the second round here, needed nearly 3 hours to beat Shelby Rogers. There's a discussion amongst the players here. Kadenuni in the chair, coming towards the end of the warm-up. Peng, as I say, a much tougher match with Rogers in the first round, at 25 in the world, the lone Chinese woman left in this draw now at this stage. Naomi Cavaday, with myself, Guy McCree, in the commentary box here. Naomi, I mean, we've looked a little bit, haven't we, at the players we did beforehand. How do you see it? What we haven't mentioned is, I mean, the head-to-head between these two. They've had some tough matches. I think it's fair to say this could go 3 sets today. That's what I'm dragging out of this one. 5 previous meetings, all 3-setters. 4 of them on hard. Take us through a little bit more on that, what you can see maybe happening here in these conditions.
Yes, absolutely. It's settled in, isn't it, for a good match. They haven't played anything that's been less than 2 hours. And I think it's really interesting clash of game styles. That's why they've always gone so long, you know, pretty evenly matched. And I just think that the slice of Niculescu affects Peng when she's not playing at her best, and you need to stay aggressive with Niculescu. Really, the ideal way is to hit powerfully, hit deep, and really kind of blast your way through her if you can. Get your movement up the court, right up on the baseline, and hit your way through Niculescu, because otherwise, if you sit back, she'll use those slices and dices and drop shots, and you will be in a world of pain, and it's incredibly difficult to do anything with that when you're back behind the baseline. And the good news is that suits Peng very much. Loves to be up on the baseline, likes to strike the ball and really take the game to her opponents. But in the previous round, she really looked a little passive and was quite nervy. So it would just be, I think this will come down to whether Peng is willing to take control of this match or not.
And whether she feels comfortable to do so, because as you say, an awful lot of pressure on her here. You were saying it before, actually, Naomi, that you go back to when Li Na was on the WTA as well. Peng's been around a long time. They've had to carry the weight of expectation, and of course the lone Chinese left in the draw now, that brings its own pressure. Quite the atmosphere here then on the stadium as the lone Chinese woman left in this Beijing draw. Peng Shuai, 25 in the world, prepares to play her second round match against the Romanian Monica Niculescu, the conqueror of Joconta in the first round. Guy McCree and Naomi Cavaday here to take you through this one. It will be Peng to get this underway. It's going to be fascinating, as you were mentioning before, Naomi, to see how she handles the pressure. A bit tense at points. It was a very tough match with Rogers, best part of 3 hours. Did well, actually, to come through it, if you look at it positively. But also how physically she shapes up after that match. Nightmare opponent in some ways as well when you think of those two factors, because Niculescu, you know you're going to have to hit a lot of balls.
Oh, absolutely, and you're never going to get the same ball twice, really. We will see a lot of slices we just saw in that point, but it's just always so different. Some sit down so low, others bounce up higher, some bounce sideways. That's what we'll need to see from Peng, pushing forwards, just taking the game to Niculescu. She's absolutely capable of doing it. But when Niculescu's under time pressure, she doesn't quite have time to get as much spin on the ball as she would when the ball is a little slower or maybe shorter at her.
Lovely touch.
It will be interesting to see just how well Peng is moving, particularly with that strapping on the right knee. Last week in Wuhan, she was struggling right from the word go against Puig, but to be fair to her, absolutely toughed out the match, lost tightly in 3 sets. But she did reach the point where really she couldn't load out wide on the forehand side. And she still has that heavy strapping. She's, of course, had some days to rest and recuperate and was not too bad in the first round, but I'm sure it's not 100%. You can see early on Peng really trying to go to the Niculescu backhand. Not sure whether that's because she thinks it's weaker and more vulnerable to attack, or whether she just doesn't want to deal with that forehand slice.
Don't blame her if that's the case. Yeah, I suppose you're going to get a truer ball, aren't you, off the backhand, because she tends to come through flatter.
Well, it's probably a good plan early on as well. You'll get some rhythm off the backhand side, and after the first 3 games, then maybe you can look at attacking the forehand a little more.
The wiles of Niculescu in evidence in that first game, full of variety and securing the immediate break. And she's so tricky to come up against. A lot of players have had issues playing Niculescu in the past. Of course, as you mentioned before, Peng, this pressure as well to deal with, come back to it, the fact she's the lone Chinese left in the draw. It's still a relatively early stage of the tournament. I think maybe they would have expected, you had obviously Shuai in action here yesterday evening, had her chances against Agnieszka Radwanska, the defending champion. But to be at this stage of the draw, Peng, and be the lone Chinese left, carrying those pressures, what is such a big tournament. Add that too. You wonder about her fitness a little bit. All of that together, it's not a promising mix. That's well played. Kept Niculescu on the defensive there, kept a push back.
Yeah, getting inside the court, really key, taking the time away from Niculescu and making sure those shots are really coming through off the court and not sitting up for her.
That's even better. Glorious shot. Belated decision to challenge from Niculescu. Break that points then. A couple of them here. I think we were going to get a few breaks in this one, and that's already the case.
And neither one of these players really have a huge serve. Aren't going to get too many cheap points. Both very strong returners, particularly Peng. I think it's one of the best areas of her game. She has very compact swings, so it doesn't get knocked off balance. Not that Niculescu really has the firepower to do that, but it just means it's very simple. As long as she gets a good contact, then she can deliver a good return.
Yeah, first time that Niculescu's dropped serve this week. Wasn't broken against Konta. Always got the sense, though, here that they